Elastic, elastic, elastic. Thanks for watching! Hi, obviously I'm joking, I have a little bit more to say about the topic. Thank you for clicking on this video, welcome to my channel, La Fraise, I am Noémie. So you could have a body that changes size a lot for various reasons. It could be a health reason, it could be mental health reason. You know, whatever the reason, I think you deserve to dress in a way that makes you feel good and to dress in a way that makes your body feel at its best and at its most comfortable. And to achieve this, there's a few things that I like to implement in my clothes, especially in my me-made, to make sure I can keep my clothing for as long as possible. If you spend time and energy and money into making your own clothes, it would be really disheartening to not be able to wear them for a long time. So this really helps. I have shown them a million times. I'm not gonna spend too long on my Arden pants here, but they are fully elasticated. The thing is, even though those are totally work appropriate and I think the color makes them quite classic, I sometimes feel like the elastic at the front isn't the most dressed up option, which is why I really love the option no elastic at the front, just normal pants, and then just a touch of elastic at the back. And the way I do this is actually I took my normal pants pattern, but I removed the back darts and replaced the back darts. So instead of sewing up the darts, I left it as is. I made the waistband a little bit longer and I added the elastic at the back. So this gives me also like not too much elastic, because otherwise, you know, if you have a lot of elasticated fabric at the back, and can get a bit poofy and maybe not the most flattering on your bum. But I find that this, just a few centimeters, actually go a long way. What is important for me is to be able to sit down and get up and get comfy. And you know, not like when you sit down and you can really feel your pants digging into you. Like this, a few centimeters of elastic, I don't think it makes them look a lot less formal, because again, the front is fine and the elasticated portion on the back isn't too big, so it's actually not too dressed down. Really goes a long way. So with the elastic, what I kind of want to come at is, obviously some patterns come with an elasticated waistband, but try to think creatively. If you see those back darts, maybe in the side seams you can add a little bit of centimeters. Try to think, can I add myself 45 centimeters of wiggle room to put an elastic in there? If the pattern designer hasn't thought of your comfort, you should think of it. These ones are not me-made, but they're actually also a really good option. So actually what happened with those pants is that they were originally elasticated, but then the elastic kind of wore out and it was not really holding up on me anymore. So I just added this drawstring inside, and so the drawstring really makes it amazing, because you know, there's so much room in them, but then they just adapt to whatever the drawstring is. Again, this is a little bit of a more informal option, so for all the formal options I would go with a bit of elastic at the back. You could also have a tiny bit of elastics on both sides of you, and that would also allow you to have serious front, serious back, just two little elasticated portion at the sides to give you this extra breathing room that makes your pants longer lasting and, you know, lasting you through a few different shapes of your body. So this is the drawstring option. Something else that I find quite good for a bit of fluctuation is a wrap top or wrap dress. So I tend to wear my wrap top with a singlet underneath anyway, because I always find that otherwise they reveal a little bit too much chest. So really, because I have the singlet, it means that even if I had to open it a little bit more, it doesn't show anything more, it just shows more singlet. Obviously, you can't just keep opening it more and more and more, because then it's not going to be pretty anymore. But it really gives you those extra few centimeters that are going to take you through a few sizes. And what I love with the wrap is that for me, it's kind of the only top options that allows me to have something fitted, but at the same time something that's going to last me through different sizes, because otherwise either it's fitted, you lose weight and then it's no longer fitted, or it's fitted, you put on weight and maybe you don't feel comfortable in it anymore. So this allows me to have something nice and cinched at the waist, makes me feel a bit more defined, but keeps fitting me. So really a winner for me. I think if you do not like to wear a singlet underneath, it might not work as well, for you, but still gives you a little bit of breathing room. I already showed this dress quite a few times, the Elodie wrap dress from Closet Core Patterns, and I think it's the same idea. The fact that it's a wrap really allows you to put on a little bit of weight or lose a little bit of weight, and it keeps fitting you, and I think that's just so important. Especially for me, this was an outfit to wear at a wedding, but I was traveling a little bit beforehand, and traveling can always lead to a little bit of weight fluctuation, so knowing that the dress would fit perfectly still once at the wedding was a real reassurance. Something else that I like in general is dressing quite loose. So if you see this t-shirt, it's really boxy, it's really loose, it's really oversized, and so it gives me quite a lot of range. I mean, if I lose a bit of weight, it's still gonna look good because it's still gonna be oversized, and literally it's quite large. I mean, there's never say never, but obviously not too much chance that I would fully fill it and not feel comfortable in it. Something that I find quite important as well is to give myself quite a bit of breathing room in the arms, because I feel like we always think, oh, I need to have extra space, so I'm gonna make this extra wide so that I can become as wide as I want. Okay, sure. But what about your arms? I feel like this is where people sometimes forget to give themselves a little bit of breathing room, and having this boxy fit and a more relaxed fit really helps to stay comfortable in your clothes through a little bit of wiggle up or down. I wanted to show this as well. It also shows the type of a little bit oversized outfit that's gonna, you know, look fine with a little bit of margin weight-wise. And I wanted to use this as an example to say, when you want to dress for a fluctuating body, maybe you've already seen the tips of the elastic, the wraps and everything, those are not so groundbreaking. But what I would think is the most important things for you to do is to think really deeply, what are your triggers? When you maybe put on or lose a bit of weight and you don't feel comfortable in your body anymore, what are those points that are really making you not feel comfortable? And so for me, I really struggle to film this because I really don't want to point out things I'm uncomfortable about my body, because I don't want to say things about my body that can then make you reflect on your body and make you feel unwell about your body. So it's very difficult because I want to be helpful and I have to give a little bit of example. But you know, if you're in a day where you're not feeling too good about your body, maybe click off now and come back another day, because I don't want you to feel bad about anything I'm gonna say. It's really just to exemplify what I mean. And what I mean is that the way you put on weight doesn't matter, and the places you put on weight doesn't matter. Put on or lose weight, actually. What is important is how you feel. And so I know that for me, I'm pretty much always going to feel comfortable showing off a little bit of my upper chest. This isn't going very low because I don't like showing too much either, but so this is where I'm revealing because I know I'm gonna feel comfortable there, and a bit cropped as well because I know most of my pants are high-waisted anyway, so I don't find it problematic to wear something a bit more cropped. And so knowing this about myself, I'm like, okay, no matter where I'm at in the few different sizes I've been in the past, I know that this and that has always been fine for me. So this is what I'm going to play as my strength. And where I tend to feel maybe less comfortable, for example, I wouldn't like something that clings too much to me, I try to make it loose. I give myself a bit of covering on the arms if that's something I don't want to show as much. So when you think about your fluctuating body, try to have this honest conversation with yourself, which is, which are the points that are the problem points for me? And how can I make that my clothes are going to not become a problem? Try to think of your clothes of something. How can they make you feel good no matter what size? You know, and outside of what you feel comfortable, you know, emotionally showing or not showing, or how you want to be covered, think of also of comfort. So if your armholes start to pinch or hurt, you're not gonna feel comfortable. So there's the emotional comfort and the physical comfort. You want emotionally to not show what you're not comfortable showing. So really think about what parts of you feel the best about and show those parts. But then also think about, oh my god, I hate when this pulls or that pulls, and you are making your own clothes, so you can actually make sure things fit in the way that makes you feel your best. So I really hate when things pinch around my arms and around my shoulders. That's something, it makes me feel, you know, if you feel uncomfortable in your clothes, like physically, then mentally it comes out straight away, because it's like, oh, I feel uncomfortable because my shoulders are too big or whatever. And it's like, it's not your shoulders that are too big, it's clearly that your clothes is too tight. So by making sure that you give yourself the room you need in the places you need, and I keep talking about the shoulders, but it could be something else for you, by making sure you give yourself this room, then you're gonna feel good in what you wear, and by feeling good, you're gonna look good. Something that's maybe a little bit obvious, but I just want to point out that you can totally do this. I do little pleats in my clothes, so if you can see, this became a touch too big, so I did a pleat. I absolutely don't think you can see it when I wear this skirt, that there's a pleat in it. So there's this pleat. For this one, because the zipper is in the back, I have actually done 2 small pleats so that they're in there. You can kind of see them if you know about them. I made 2 pleats, this way they would be equal on either side, because I didn't want, obviously, to throw off the balance of the skirt. And I would like to add a skirt like this that's a little bit longer. I'm gonna feel comfortable wearing for much longer than a mini skirt, because obviously, no matter if I am in a day where I feel confident about my legs or in a day where I don't feel confident about my legs, this is a little bit more covering, and so it means that I'm gonna feel good in this skirt no matter what. When a skirt like this, which I have also taken in here, in a skirt like this, because it's a little bit shorter, I don't always feel confident in it, so I find that I wear it a lot less, actually. So if what you want is to get the most wear out of your me-made, also think realistically, are you someone who often feels confident in a miniskirt, or are you someone who feels more confident most of the time in something a little bit longer? And that's really important to be honest with yourself, because I love the concept of a miniskirt, but realistically I don't feel so often comfortable into wearing them, so I think having just a couple is enough, because I don't wear them that often. With the little pleats I've added in all of my skirts, as I've shown you, I think it's important for you to have the conversation if this is the good option for you. Because the issue with the pleats is that, okay, here I got to sew a pleat into my skirt, but what about in the other direction? If in a few months I need to remove the pleats, how hard is that going to be emotionally for me? And if you think that removing a pleat to give yourself back the room you need and you deserve to have in your waistband, if you think that's going to be difficult, I think you might be safer sewing a little elastic maybe in the top here, you know, maybe sew an elastic around the waistline. There's maybe ways to do this so that you don't have to put a pleat, remove the pleat, because I know that emotionally it can feel really good to get to sew a little pleat in your pants and you're like, oh wow, I get to do a pleat, but then you might need to remove it and try to think about how is that going to make you feel. If you are really objective about your body and you're like, well, I need a bit more space now, removing the pleats, all good, then by all means do it. But if it's gonna mentally be difficult, think about maybe other ways, and ways that you can just have the little elasticated waist. What you could also do, for example, is add a buttonhole and a couple of buttons. This way you can fold it, and depending on, you know, where you are at the moment, you can put the button here, 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 or here, or not tie any of the buttons, and that's sorted. So depending on if you think it's fine for you, maybe you want something that's more long-term and something that's maybe more easily adapting to your body for a given day. An extra 2 points I wanted to bring today is one, never forget to pre-wash your fabric. Fabric does shrink sometimes in the first couple of washes, so if you don't pre-wash them, you make an outfit that fits you perfectly and then you put it in the wash and then it shrinks. It's not going to make you feel great, and it's no fault to your body, but so to make sure that you're already starting on the right sizing, make sure you pre-wash your fabrics. And something that I want kind of like open to discussion, I have been really worried about making jeans because I find that adding a bit of elastics in your jeans doesn't look so good. But knowing that my weight goes up and down a lot, I feel like making jeans, which is so involved and just seems like a whole different beast to make, I'm just really worried to make the jeans and then not fit in the jeans anymore. And so if you have any tips specifically on keeping your jeans fitting you for a while throughout weight loss or weight gain, please let me know, because I'm sure other people are also going to be interested in the comment to see what are the best ways to make your jeans last. At the moment, what I do is I buy my jeans quite cheaply secondhand on the app Vinted, which is an app where you can buy directly into some people's closet. So that way I know which brand and which size suits me, and it's really easy. But I feel like making my own jeans, and just the risk of them not fitting so quickly, it's kind of terrifying with the time and effort you put in it. So any good jeans tips for a fluctuating body? I'm really curious, so let me know in the comments. I hope this video was useful for you. I hope that the energy in this video wasn't too low. I don't know if you can tell, I find that it was quite hard for me to film because I really don't want to point things out in my body that are issues for me, because actually hearing people saying negative things about their body can trigger things in you, and I really want to avoid this in this video. Silly example, but I had a friend who always says, oh, I have so big feet. I'm actually exactly the same size as her, and I never found my feet big. But because she keeps saying it, I'm like, oh, do I have big feet? Is that something I should feel bad about? Because I never thought that my feet were big. I have the same size as my mom and my sister, so I thought it was a very standard size, but she keeps saying that they're big, like it's a negative thing. I might have things about my body that I don't like that you wish you would have, or you know, it's also subjective. So even though those things are subjective and we can appreciate that it's just things that I would like or not like in my own body, I feel really resistant to share them on the internet because I don't want to trigger you, and because I know how difficult that can be to watch that type of video. So that might be why the energy was maybe a bit weird, and I hope that it was still agreeable to watch and that you kind of understand where I'm coming from. And don't forget that you can make anything in your size that fits you, that you feel happy in. If you want to come back on the channel later, please subscribe. I'd love to have you here. Thank you so much and have a great day. Bye!